Hello everybody, here, very happy to see all of you on the other side of the screen. I am filming this video for the fourth time now because the shit keep piling up and I have more and more stuff to talk about, and also I would like to try this and that and also want to talk about that. So finally I hope I can finish this bloody video. And what I want to do, I keep fixing my German skeleton build, and the problem that I experience that I have a Corsair Dominator Platinum RGB memory, which has a cool lighting and you can have a fancy stuff with that, but make it work you need an absolutely horrendous piece of shit software called IQ, which doesn't well integrate with ASUS. It's interfere with Windows, so it doesn't go to sleep properly, and also it works only right every second time you start computer and IQ simply doesn't see memory. You don't have any memory installed, so you need to reboot because the restarting software doesn't help, and then it suddenly sees the memory, you need to open it, apply the lighting effect, and then you have whatever I configured. And it was kind of annoying, and I decided that I don't need this bullshit. I don't know who even buys this crap from Corsair and how they make money on it, but good for them. They're pushing bullshit and people giving money. Great. So I decided I delete IQ, and by default you still get rainbow waves that I don't want it. So I remember that in the DDR4 Dominator it was relatively simple. You remove the bracket and you can take light out. So I thought, okay, I'll spend 5 minutes and I'm done. And on the way I would like to film it and show what's inside of the DDR5 RAM at this point. So I thought maybe it will be interesting. And stuff started piling up. First of all, in order to remove the light from this module, you need to unscrew those 4 screws. But essentially it's like one screw into other screw and they go through the hole essentially. So when you start unscrewing it, both spinning freely, nothing happening, and you need to scramble and find the second bit, which I didn't have exactly in the same size. So with one bit you're holding one screw, and with the screwdriver, and second bit you unscrew second screw. The beginning was already a little bit frustrating, so great. I finally remove it, take 2 brackets out, and oops, you still can't remove light because it's held by those 2 heat spreaders, which is glued to the PCB. Luckily for me, Corsair did such a horrendous bad job that it's basically was attached 1 millimeter one place, 1 millimeter another place, and the same like 2 little spots on other side, so it was barely attached to PCB, and PCB was hanging in the air inside. Removing light itself after that straightforward. You have a ribbon cable, you basically flip a kind of a flap and it goes out, very easy. And if you need to install it back, again, you have flap in the vertical position, slide the cable in, close it, you're done. So theoretically if you need to replace LED light or something like this, it's a simple thing. But now I start looking on the heat spreader itself, and I see that it has a lot of stuff. It has one long look like it's I thought it's some sort of thermal part, but essentially I think it's something more like a band-aid with industrial strength glue in it, and it was glued to the heat spreader, and it took me a lot of glue gun to get rid of it. And on the other side it's supposed to be glued to memory, but no, it was not really, barely touching. All microchips on the PCB was virginally clean. And also you had another piece of thermal pad that's supposed to be attached to cluster of electronic components in the middle of the PCB, and I assume it's also supposed to be cooled and transfer some heat to the heat spreader, but it wasn't touching nothing. It was absolutely virginally clean. I don't know why it was installed, but thickness was not even close to get any kind of contact with this cluster of microchip on both sides of PCB. And also you had 2 big pieces, probably like 3 millimeters thick, which was actually touching the heat spreaders. So I don't see any reason to be attached PCB that has 0 components on it other than some sort of structural thing. So that part was attached. None of the part that's supposed to be attached wasn't attached. So I said, okay, whatever, fine. I will just put my own thermal pad. And after that I said, okay, fine. Will it make any difference? I didn't plan to do this stuff, but because it's such a horrendous bullshit job by Corsair, which is assemble like the worst Chinese sweatshop in the middle of nowhere, will it make any difference? So I assemble memory module back, and I said like, okay, but if I spend my effort and a little bit of money on a thermal pad piece to fix it, will it make any difference? And I decided to connect everything back. I kind of run it against another module that I didn't fix yet. Right out of the bat we saw 1 degree difference, so it was like 30 degrees, 31 degrees. Okay, better than nothing, but will it make any difference if you do something with your computer? So I launched sensor software and also stressed my memory with AIDA 64, waited 10 minutes. I get 2 degrees, maybe more, a little bit, 2 and change. Take it at the face value. I saved, in the best case scenario, maybe 2 degrees with doing proper assembly and actually transferring some heat from the PCB towards the heat spreaders. But my main purpose that I did was actually get rid of the stupid light, which I disconnected. I put a piece of electrical tape over the connector and just lie my flat cable on top. So now it's just black memory without any special effects. But if ever I want to do it, or maybe I want to sell it, it's very easy to put this ribbon cable back and everything will work just as intended. One additional note: if you think that you can actually put aftermarket modules such as AK Water Blocks, Alpha Cool and Beats Power make those, it doesn't work for Dominator because the PCB about 1 centimeter taller than it should be. If you have a more or less standard memory, which can be DDR5 as well, so it's like this tall, and it perfectly works with a heat spreader, which is just a little bigger than this. But with this thing, this heat spreader, not even touching the modules, even if you try to install it. So don't waste your money on that or have your hopes. If you want aftermarket heat spreader, or you want to water cool your memory, make sure you have a low profile memory or standard height memory that will work with such products. So a little bit off the subject, but I wanted to mention it as well. That's all. I get it off my chest. Thank you for watching. If you made it so far, I see you in the next video.